So thank you very much, Vincent. I'm here today, with DigiTeRRI coming to Grand Est, to Mulhouse, and I'm here today with Vincent Boly. He is a professor at the University of Lorraine, actually in the Systems Engineering and Innovation School. So please introduce yourself and explain us a little bit what's your research about and what you do as part of your job.
Okay, thank you. You can hear in my accent when I talk, I'm a French professor. French professor. With some colleagues, we created 25 years ago a brand new engineering school dedicated to innovation and in particular to digital innovation. Though the project was in fact to teach all the methodologies to young people to be able to be project manager and to improve innovation in companies. So now I work as a professor in this school, and also I work as a researcher in research laboratories about innovative processes. And more precisely, I'm involved in some researches about evaluation. How can you evaluate the novelty of a product? How can you evaluate the innovative capacity of a company? And also about some strange stages of the development of a new product, like need analysis, how to catch the need of people, of all the users, of all the stakeholders of a product.
User requirements, kind of, right?
Yeah, requirements, and all these particular thing about, let's say, sometimes subjective aspect and very important, like when you develop a website and so on. And I am also involved in some European project like DigiTeRRI. And
coincidence.
Yeah, coincidence. And also I was involved in the elaboration of the international standard about innovation management called ISO 56000. It's a new standard. Me and my colleagues, we were involved in the elaboration of this standard. It takes a lot of time, but it's very interesting to connect with companies and so on, and other researchers to elaborate.
Improving the quality of the process for implementing this, right? In companies.
Yeah, exactly.
So you said already, you are part of DigiTeRRI. So please explain us a little bit what you do in DigiTeRRI, what's your role of the University of Lorraine and of your team in particular?
In fact, DigiTeRRI is for us a very important topic because we all focus on, let's say, responsibility, social responsibility and technical development, and in particular digitalization. So it's very important. It's very important for us as people, but also as professors, because today we observe that our students are concerned about responsibility, and so it's very important for us to have a background, a real background to present to these students, and DigiTeRRI help us. So this is one very important objective. And what is my role? My role is first to understand all the practices in the 3 territories involved in the DigiTeRRI, let's say Grand Est, Warmland and Styria, to understand what are the practices of the people that are engaged and work for the development of their territories. So to describe, I elaborate some methodologies to understand and describe all these practices and to evaluate these practices, looking at their impact in terms of responsibility, gender equality and so on. And also one aspect is the communication between the territories on some particular activities. For example, my objective is, and my activities are directed towards the elaboration of courses, common courses between the 3 territories.
Okay.
And to, let's say, some kind of pedagogical innovation, making a contact, trying to get some contacts between the three territories.
So as part of your activities, you said it already, you are focused on understanding what's going on in the different territories. We call it that mapping.
Yeah.
So as part of this mapping, what have you learned, out of Grand Est, definitely, and compared to the other two territories that are part of the project?
Focusing on Grand Est, I think one aspect is that finally we have in this region a strong strategy about equipment. Mm-hmm. Let's say we have fiber, we have a lot of platforms and so on. And now what I can understand is that we have a lot to do about competencies and inclusion. There is some kind of rupture in our society between people that are, let's say, able to use digital services, the digital items, and the other one.
So the bridge is getting bigger.
Yeah. And another aspect, very interesting, is networking. I think this is one thing particular in the field of digitalization. It means that you can't do it alone. A single company can't do anything. University, we can't work alone. And so it's something very particular in the field of digitalization. It means that networking is the solution, the only solution. And so we directed our attention about how to develop improved networking between stakeholders and people, and it's very important. So the quadruple helix with the citizen, companies, academics and people involved in all the management of the territory is very important, and it's, let's say, stimulating to see that we are all interconnected and to work on this interconnection.
But not even create the networks, no? The interactions, but the collaboration, which is actually the step forward. Right?
Collaboration. But what is very interesting in what you said, it's the temporal aspect. When to collaborate. Mm-hmm. At the very beginning, when you just elaborate objectives, when you try to find solution, when you implement solution. So it's very interesting to see that networking is very important at every steps of the process, and that you need some methodologies to make people work together at each steps.
And keep them engaged.
Yeah.
So you said actually what you had discovered in Grand Est. Could you please put it in the context compared to the other territories in the project, especially on the learnings? What you gather, or what you saw that it's going better, different, worse in other territories, or what are the similarities? What are the elements where you think there can be, complementarities?
Yeah, I think, for example, in Styria and Warland, the territories are smaller. We have in the region is very huge. So perhaps we have more problem in Grand Est compared with Styria and Warland to make people know each other, because it's like a small village and a big town, And so I think there is a lot of assets in Warland and Styria due to the proximity of the people, and so it's very important. And so perhaps it's easier for to do this networking dynamics. Another difference I think is the power of academics structures in our region compared with the other one. When we look at all the practices about digitalization in Grand Est, we saw that in most of the cases, university is one of the partners of all the projects, but it's not the case in the other territories, because they have less resources in the domain of university and research.
So for closing, let's take a look, at the future to meet to the long term. We've seen COVID-19 has. Probably there were a lot of processes already, or plans, for the future that I guess COVID has accelerated tremendously. So how do you see, these changes, these realities that we are now, trying to cope with? in this territory when it comes to digitalization, how to make sure that Grand Est is not staying behind on one side, that we can keep the local while playing global, in these moments of change?
For me, I do not worry about technology. Perhaps a society where money has less pressure on people and so on. And so this aspect for me is the great challenge. We have to be very aware of the fact that we can't miss this mission we have to have a better society in terms of social relation between people and so on. And it's very important for the young people. All our students told us, yes, okay, but what are we able to change in the society, in the quality in the relation between people and so on. So for me, the main challenge is not technology, is the way, it's the philosophy, the values, the territorial values we give. Well,
thank you very much. That's very interesting and definitely something to keep in mind. As you said, responsibility is the key. So we are achieving the technical, we don't see any technical barriers. We see philosophy might be the key.
I think the human are at the center of our problems and our project.
Thank you.
Thank you.